This is One-on-One. Daniel Czerniawski is Chief Operating Officer, Atlantic Federal Credit Union. Good to see you, Daniel.
Pleasure to meet you.
Let's talk credit score. Let's talk debt. Let's talk FICO score. What's FICO?
FICO is Fair Isaac Credit Company. They are a publicly traded entity, and they produce the most widely used credit score in the United States. You got to see it on fun commercials like freecreditscore.com, things of that nature. But they don't drive down to the true score and really what we use as financial institutions when we make evaluations on whether or not give a loan. The score itself is kind of the macro side of it. People like to see the score, but it doesn't drive down to what's your personal finances, what really drives that. So what we try to tell people first and foremost is you can go to a bunch of websites, but you want to go to FICO if you want to see the score that gets most widely used, and then you want to kind of understand what goes behind that score, what's driving at that score.
Okay, say you want to get your whole situation under control, which all of us do. Mm-hmm. What goes into your overall credit score? What kinds of things?
Okay, the most commonly heavily weighted items are debt burden. They like to
debt burden. What's the difference between debt and debt burden? Is that just jargon?
Debt burden is a nice way to say, how much can you afford to pay? I think that's a nice way to put it. A little bit earlier we were mentioning, I like to tell the story about my wife. My wife.
I know. Actually, full disclosure. Mm-hmm. I do executive coaching in the other part of my life. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, people pay me to give them professional advice. And your wife is one of my clients.
Yes.
For a great firm called Cohn Resnick.
Yes, and she came from another country and immigrating over from Poland, where it is not common to carry debt. The first thing she thought was, I will pay everything off, I will not keep a darn thing, and I will close it.
What did you say to that?
I told her after she closed the card, I said, you realize your score just went down and you made it harder for us to get a mortgage. So
well, I would think, wait a minute, why does that happen?
So one of the weighted items happens to be how long you've had credit for. So if you are recently into the country or when your kids first start, there might be a thought, get rid of your credit cards. But the overall score also takes into account having different types of credit. So the weighting picks up a little bit towards how long have you had different types of cards and how well you use them. So, they have a business not telling exactly of anything, but the three major bureaus that are out there have people report up, people like my credit union, that'll say you've paid your auto loan or your mortgage for a period of time. That goes into their weighting. And then there is a factor on credit cards or what we like to call open lines. So home equity lines of credit, your open credit cards, how much of them are you using of that? We then take a look at what we would call a bankruptcy indicator.
Whoa, time out, hold on, okay. Go back. By the way, we're putting up websites so people can get more information. Your bankruptcy indicator.
Okay. So
what is that?
Well, if you like to think about this, if you were in a boat bailing water and on the way down, the easiest thing to do is take on as much as possible. Exactly the same thing happens before most people declare bankruptcy. Their credit card debt immediately begins to accelerate. Every open line of credit they have, they probably use everything they have on that, and then they go to an attorney to declare bankruptcy. So it just, it happens to happen, and we look for that.
Okay, so let's do the bankruptcy thing. The question is,
okay,
because some of my friends have said, I quote, I think it's a good time to declare bankruptcy. And I always think to myself, what's a good time to declare bankruptcy? Is there, what does that mean?
Well, what I would tell everybody is what we spend a lot of time ourselves doing is trying to direct people to actually build out a plan. And that goes back to your credit score and anything else. Take a look at what you have there. We pay for a company called GreenPath, and GreenPath actually coaches people through their individual cards and building a budget, which would be hard to believe most people don't do.
Yeah, we'll talk about budgets in a second. Go ahead.
So we then work with this company to basically work with the individual creditors, and then if you can't, at some point you have to make a decision between eating and paying the bank. And even me as the bank would say, you probably should eat. You're not going to be paying my bill if you don't eat anyway.
Right.
So that's kind of the workout, so to speak.
So now you declare bankruptcy.
Okay.
Describe the process.
The process out is you're going to want to reestablish credit. And simplest thing most people are going to go tell you to do is go down to your local credit union and open up a secured loan. Put aside something showing that you're paying a bill. So, auto loans would be the most common item.
Does the amount matter how much?
No, what most are probably looking for is the ability to pay a bill on time. You have a period of time up to 30 days before somebody hits a credit bureau. So if you're due on the 1st and you don't pay the bill to the 1st, you now have something that shows up as a delinquency. And then it rolls, we consider 30, 60, and 90 days. These are big numbers because it's likelihood of default.
Okay, I'm curious about something. I'm looking at this information that my producers provided me, and I think to myself, as you did the pre-interview, I thought, one of the things you talked about was why people get into debt. Why do most people who are smart don't want to get into debt? Why do most people get into the kind of debt that causes them huge problems?
I can embarrassingly say that even when I first met my wife and began dating, that we didn't build a budget. Not
Did
together.
not build a budget.
Nope, a banker
Are you
and
saying that,
accountant.
hold on, go back there. Are you saying that when you and Magdalena got together, dating, in this romantic period, the subject of budgeting did not come up?
No, not at all. I think more embarrassingly, a banker and accountant got together, decided to go open up rental and purchase rental properties, still
This is
didn't
great.
have a budget.
This is great. A banker and an accountant get together, and that sounds like a joke, and they don't talk budget.
No, and they have kids, and that's really when it starts to kick in. But it's for everybody, and we go through this, and I can tell you the people that do the best work for me in dealing with people and budgets are my collectors, because now you're paying attention. now they tell you.
Why is it so hard for us to put together a budget together, A, and B, what's the best advice to put it together?
Put it together is, what do we start with your after-tax income? What's my
After-tax income, go ahead.
Because for most people, it's your take-home income. And then start to really say, here's what I'm going to be spending on my living expense, my house, my whatever it is, my kids, my car, and here's my when things go wrong money. And if you don't put that in there, then you're going to be coming back to the bank. And what tends to happen, I've had people come say, I need to borrow money for rent, I need to borrow money for vacation. Well, now you've just increased what you have to carry each month and made it harder for you to get out. I mean,
How about all these people who are convinced they need certain things
they're
that they may not necessarily, what are you laughing at? They need these things. They need that very expensive car.
It's a
They
direct
need those
correlation.
shoes.
It's a direct correlation.
Help me on this, guys. I'm not going to ask the guys in the control room. I know a friend of mine, his wonderful wife, had to get, what are those shoes that cost like $1,000? The ones with the red bottoms? Louboutins.
Louboutins? Oh.
Well, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I have a little sister-in-law that just needed her, she's 16.
Right.
She just turned 17 and she wants her new car. But
She didn't get Louboutins.
No, but she wanted that Michael Kors purse.
What?
I don't even know what it was, but I know she wanted a $400 purse. And I told her, well, I'll tell you what. You can spend $400 on your purse, you can spend $400 on your car, but you're not doing both.
Not doing both.
No.
Okay, but go back to my Louboutin things. I'm obsessed with this. Because my friend came to me and he said, I'm going to get her Louboutins because it'll make her happy. And the guy, trust me, was talking to me about having a hard time paying the mortgage. And I said, so you're going to do the Louboutins. What do they cost? Tell me seriously, Google this. He said, you knew that, $100? $700, $800.
Someone in your studio tried to buy them. That's what happened.
Oh, they're not buying them, but we pay them. So $700, $800, right? Just because they have the red bottoms, I guess they're pretty cool. I don't know. And the person having a hard time paying the mortgage. That's not good for your budget.
It's terrible for your budget, and the worst part is nobody will actually.
But his wife is happy.
Wife is happy till they come take the house. It's usually one or the other.
Steve Barcy on camera. What are you laughing at? So are you saying that the answer is no sometimes?
The answer is no most of the time. It's just
You're
reality.
no fun, you know.
I'm
You
the
are no
banker.
fun.
Nobody likes the banker.
But it's got to be done.
It's got to be done, and we were just doing college applications with my sister-in-law yesterday, and I told her she wants to apply to Princeton, to Yale, to Harvard,
Yes.
and I said, are you aware what they cost? And she said, well, what do you mean? Well, each one of these costs an application, and she wants to apply to 36 schools, and I said, that'd be very nice, except you're not going to go to 36 schools, you're going to go to one. I need you to bring it back in and realistically think. So I told her, I'll tell you what, we'll pay for you to apply for Princeton, to Harvard, to Yale. If you want to do all three, you're going to pick up the cost of the other two.
You know, do people in your family come to you with this stuff?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And then after they do, they go, why did we come to them?
You know, it's sad, but the reality is someone has to be the bad guy.
Someone has to be the smart guy, and you're the smart guy. Daniel Czerniawski, Chief Operating Officer, Atlantic Federal Credit Union. You are a smart guy, and you give us the answer that we may not want, but the one we need. Dan, I appreciate it. Great stuff.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk finance off the air. Stay with us. We'll be right back one-on-one right after this. That was good.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by New Jersey Credit Unions, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, PSE&G, the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. New Jersey manufacturers, Activus, in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge. And by Cone Resnick, promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com. And by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.